Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Paranormal Karen, funny too. Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Oh, and did I mention she's funny too? Yeah, cha-cha-cha.
Okay, everybody, welcome to Paranormal Karen. And you all asked and asked and asked, and guess who's here? It's my sister, Sue.
And guess what? I'm going to tell everyone, well, I don't have to have a fanfare, I guess, that Karen said that she enjoys when I can't get anything together here. So she just put me right on the spot.
Because I sent you the stories a long time ago. And then, I'm just like you on. In fact, I almost couldn't find them. And so you couldn't find them. So I just sent them to you again. And you were like, well, wait a minute, because I didn't get them, or I have to reopen them. And then I was like, that's why people listen, because you're not together.
I still can't open it.
You can't.
Wait a minute. No, you know what? I didn't receive it yet. And here's why, because this is my old computer. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to search for this. So Karen, you're gonna have to spend some time here.
Okay, so
what's been going on?
The title I have on it is called. Oops, and someone got a text. Was that you? No, that was me.
No.
Okay, so the title on it is called Sue Podcast. Google that, see if it comes in, or look for that.
Okay, I am gonna go in with my password first, right to my iCloud, and I would like to hold on.
Don't say your password.
Oh, are you kidding? No way. I need my two-factor up.
You didn't back up your computer. You can't get in it.
Yeah, stop the thing. Okay. 316. Where's the rest of it?
What do you?
Stop taping if you can.
Okay, hold on.
I'm so sorry.
All right, folks. So since that pause, which to you probably you didn't even notice that we paused, it's been 10 minutes. I changed my clothes. I had to go to the bathroom. Susie went from one computer to another, and we're waiting for something to open, but I'm not sure. But we're going to start anyways. So
we're nothing if not prepared.
If not prepared. And also, Susie has at the end some big news. We're going to cover it at the end. That way, if you're not supposed to talk about it, those people probably won't make it to the end of the podcast. Okay. So, first of all the nice people that you know on Instagram, and then my nice people sent us so many stories. I don't know if we're going to get them all in today, but I'm very excited because we haven't done this in a while.
That's true. Yes, and you can tell I'm distracted. I'm just going to have to read these from my phone. People, this is the third device that I can't get on, and I'm old, and I won't be able to see the others, so there will be a lot of squinting.
I don't think they can see,
but it will be enjoyable for you all. All right.
Would you like the audience to squint as they listen so they'll feel like they're like you?
I also have to tell you, my poor husband had to go and get me a twisted tea. He just walked through the room.
So now you're going to be drunk. Now you're drinking through the podcast.
People, I just started, so we're good.
All right. So
I'm just going to go straight into my iPhone mail now because there's no hope.
Okay. Was the for the twisted tea? You didn't like it?
I love it. No, the is for this fact that I'm going to have to really read nice and tight here because it's so
well. I'll
small.
Read it. I'll read some of them too. We'll switch off. But here is I have a question. What happened? You were telling me something happened with because your sister's against 5G. What happened in your house? Something happened, right? I shouldn't ask you to remember anything on the spot. I don't know why I was thinking that was going to work. Didn't your power go off, or all your phones went off, or something, and you got bumped out of our Zoom meeting, and then you called AT&T, and there was an upgrade, or did you upgrade to 5G? Right?
No, we don't have 5G.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know what you.
But you're right. We all did get bumped off, and it was the oddest thing. And and I didn't know why, but I think your story is it's kind of close. I just don't know what it is. It was something with an AT&T, maybe an update. Yeah. And it's super boring. So,
but it was something where you called me, you were like, listen to this conspiracy theory. And then Siri hacked half the words in the text that you sent me. So I don't know what happened, but all right. Okay. So we're going to start with a iffy story, Okay. And I'm going to read the story and then you're going to tell the people why it's iffy. How about that?
Yes, that sounds great.
Okay. And you can always tell it's iffy because it starts out with this. This story isn't for the faint of heart. But I think the faint of heart have been pushed out of my podcast the last time I interviewed a demon. I think the faint of heart are out listening to Joe Rogan or someone sweet. This story isn't for the faint of heart. It goes back to the 70s. Holy cow. In Bridgewater, New York. Okay. Bridgewater, Massachusetts, the Bridgewater Triangle is very haunted, but I don't know about Bridgewater, New York. It's on the corner of 8 and 20, in case anyone wants to show up, where that fishing shop used to be on the corner. Obviously, this story is more written for you than our audience that doesn't know the fishing store.
It's from my neighbor. He's a bro.
Is the fishing? What? I can't imagine the fishing shop closed. The shop was Baker's Pond was back there, so that's why the fishing shop right on Baker's Pond, across the Nice and Easy on the 8th.
Across from the Nice and Easy, yeah.
What's the Nice and Easy?
It's not even. It used to be.
It's my house. That's what the dates say. Come in. Welcome to the Nice and Easy.
No, the Nice and Easy is just like a gas station. Now it's a Valero, so this is way off.
Oh, so it's no longer easy or nice. No offense, Valero. I was just kidding. Legend has it, Old Man Stinky Baker. All right. Tom put a lot of time into this story. Used to fish and hunt back there by the pond. But one night he came back into his house to find his best friend, Leonardo Boo Ragdally, banging his wife.
Nice. Boo Radley. Now let's steal from classic literature, Tom. Jeez Louise. He gave us little gems here to tip us off that this wasn't true, and then swore up and down that no. Ask Evan, who's my son. Ask him; he knows about this. And Evan just gave me a big fat eye roll. So keep going. Okay,
so I actually kind of like this idea. Maybe we should have Tom write ghost stories, and then we have to pick out the historical characters in them. So he shot both of them with his 12 gauge and brought their bodies to the pond. Old Man Baker was so overcome with grief that he drank a whole bottle of old granddad bourbon and drowned himself in the pond.
Which is a favorite of Tom's, I think. I do think he enjoys drinking that, so he included it.
Oh, okay. So we don't know if Old Man Baker really felt that bad. He may not have.
True. We don't know.
But he had the bourbon and he drowned himself in the pond. Mount Markham and other high school kids have said they've seen ghosts at Baker Pond. Some youngins have even gone missing over the years. If you need further details about this story, let me know. I think we ought to call him right now.
Yeah, and he'd go, bro, it's a real story. Okay. And then you'd have to say, Tom, come on.
Well, he's
great.
Yes, he is great. Okay. So we don't know if that was true with the addition of the historical characters and the product placement for old granddad, as though we're going to send him a bottle of whiskey, a bourbon.
Oh my God. He will want that.
He's going
to hold you to that.
Is there a difference between bourbon and whiskey?
Are you kidding? I don't know. I once ordered pink wine, and I thought my husband was just going to die. I have no idea.
Is it blush? Is pink a blush?
I don't know, but I guess it can be.
Pink wine. All right. Okay. So then we got a nice short one. You want to read the next short one?
Sure.
Okay.
It is from Beth. And it says, my niece Carly got married outside of NYC several years ago. They had a rather large get together, including all four of her grandparents who had passed, pictured on votive candles at the guest table. Yeah, that was a little tricky. She wrote that beautifully, but I wasn't quite sure what happened there. I get it now. The wedding ceremony was outdoors on a beautiful late spring day in an azalea-lined garden. The bride and groom were sharing their vows when a beautiful butterfly fluttered in and lingered for a full 10 minutes, fluttering back and forth between the wedding party and the flowers. Carly's maternal grandfather loved butterflies and had cutouts on the house he built at Lake Erie. Let's see. I'm sure he was passing and giving his blessing over the union, which I think is such a good idea. All right, here's my favorite though.
It's better than birds pooping on the union.
Exactly.
That'd be our grandmother, Dad's grandma.
Oh, she's the worst, and I think she would have. Later at the reception, the bride and groom were hoisted up on chairs and raised above the crowd in joyous celebration.
Wow.
My oldest son had one of the legs of Carly's chair. She looked fairly terrified. As I danced next to them, I saw Mike look up at his cousin, and I heard my father's voice say, "Don't worry, I've got you." It still makes me cry to recall.
Oh,
I know. See, mine are a lot of nice ghost stories. Like people, not mine, like I own them, but people that sent them in sent a lot of contact they had with people they missed.
That's good. That's good. We have a lot of, we like them all. We like them all.
We do like them all. Sorry, people. We do.
We like the way that one was very well written too.
Yes.
And I think I have two together here in the next one, I'll be very careful with the names. I think I have in here the person that didn't want their names. I think I took them out.
Right.
But
yeah, I saw that.
Okay. I like that story. I don't think, I think if I got married and Dad was passed away and haunted our wedding, he would just go, "What are you doing?" He would yell at me for something. Who's paying for this? Who's paying for this? Okay. So next is, a nice lady. I think I can say her name, but I'm going to skip it anyways. Yep. But she's
no, you can because she would like it. I think.
Oh, Claudia. Okay. Hi, Claudia. Nice to meet you. She says I've been following you for some time now. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, all my listeners. I always forget to say thank you.
I hate to tell you, but
she's following you.
Following me. I think
Claudia is nothing but a disappointment so far.
No, I think she started following you too now. So there.
Oh, okay. Got it.
You think you're so cocky.
I am. I'm so arrogant. All right. So I'm going to read this one. My older brother, my only sibling was killed in a car accident in 1999 in Tucson, Arizona, where he and I were living at the time. Oh, that's awful. Within a month of his death, I found myself in a black hole of depression and despair because of his death. I needed to find a way out of my depression, but I didn't know where to start. Once I was on antidepressants and feeling better, I wanted to find some way to communicate with my brother. Anything. I was so desperate for something, anything that would let me know he was okay. But I was afraid. I didn't want anything in your face that would scare the shit out of me. I like how she spelled Outta. Is that a word? It is a word. Right. Okay.
Yeah, out of, but it was just slang.
Oh, but I like it though, because that's how I would have said it, even if it was spelled the other way. I didn't want an apparition. I didn't want to visit. I don't know what I was looking for, but I started to find myself saying things like, just please don't scare me. Shortly after I literally let go of the need to communicate, to have a connection with my brother, things started to happen. Rather than scared, I was so happy. Lights would flicker on and off at inopportune times. If my ex-husband and I were talking about him, the lights would flicker. If we had questions, then things started to disappear. Oh, they would come back. Let me explain. My brother was a practical joker and loved to get one pulled over on someone. The someone is me now. Oftentimes I will go to pick up something I know is right where it is, and I'll go to retrieve it and it's not there. I will begin to look all over the damn house and scream at my brother, give it back. Then I'll go back to the original place where it should have been in the first time, and there it sits. Ha ha ha. This happens to me all the time. Still, it used to happen to my ex-husband until we divorced.
It's too bad he didn't go visit and not do things there.
I know. My folks and I all live together, and it happens to my mom now too. Right. That's the, wait a minute. Oh, go.
No, there's more.
When I was still married, the most striking thing that happened did so after a grocery store run. I was putting groceries away. Things were piled on the counter and such. There were a few boxes of cereal on the counter. I turned around just in time to see one of the boxes of cereal fly horizontally off the counter and onto the floor. I just stopped. I don't think I breathed. And then I said out loud, brother, too much. It hasn't happened since. LOL. I had a brilliant...
But there is still more.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
I had a brilliant relationship with my brother in life and now in death. You don't think you can get any closer, but you do. I love that. I used to be afraid to die. I no longer am. There is something on the other side. I know this. My brother is fine and happy and having fun messing with me. Wherever he is, it is a good place. My brother jokes now are much more subdued. He still likes to misplace items for us and make us look for them, only for them to be in the middle of the floor, right where it was supposed to be. Something completely in your face. I'll take that anyway, and twice on Sunday. Hopefully this was the kind of thing you were looking for. If not, simply disregard. It was great.
Yeah, now this is... Wait, wasn't this Claudia? One says, oh, maybe the one up above was Claudia.
Yes.
Okay.
No, that was all Claudia. No, Shanna, I just put Shanna's name there. She's the next story, I believe. I did that by mistake. Okay. But here's the thing I also love about that story, because I think it is her brother. But if it wasn't her brother, oddly enough, listen, folks, this is the best way to deal with the entity if it's not a brother, which is like she's not afraid of it and she yells at it. And
kind of like how you should deal with your father if he's an idiot.
Yes, exactly. But I don't mean that you should yell at all entities because you want to find out what it is first. But I really think the fact that she's not afraid is the best part of that story. Yay!
And you know what? I have another good part, because this is a sad part, because my friend, I went to a funeral yesterday, and she and her husband were inseparable because she won't stop talking and he never talked. And they were so cute, and he passed away. He had a brain tumor. But I hope that he appears for her like this. As soon as I read that part that Claudia wrote about, you read it and you said it was really sweet. You don't think you can get any closer, but you do. I hope that happens with her.
Yeah.
Amen. That's my whole speech.
Yes.
That was kind of a downer. Here's a cheerful thing, everybody, though. My mother says on the phone, and I told Karen this, Susan, well, she didn't sound like that, but she was kind of cranky. Your father saw his father today. Like, what is that all about? Yeah, he woke up from the chair he's always sitting in, and he saw him right in front of him. And I'm like, oh, no.
I know, because you texted me that, and I was like, is Dad going to make it through the night if he's already seeing dead relatives?
He is. Wait, now, did you just hear the phone go?
I don't think so.
I did, right after I finished saying that. I hope it's my phone.
Yeah, we should check on Dad. Let's call a three-way call going with Dad. Are you all right? What are you talking about?
Then he says, yeah, then Mom says, yeah, I'll give him the phone. Ask him about it. I'm thinking, he doesn't want to talk to me about this. So he goes, no, I don't want the phone. Janine, don't give me the phone.
I know. Should we call them now? And because Mom had a ghost story once, didn't she? Did we end up getting it on the air?
You know what it's going to be about? It's going to be about 5G and getting knocked off off of AT&T. No, I would not call her. She's killing me.
Okay.
She'll probably make you buy her a bathing suit.
Oh, that's right. That's
what she was trying to do to me.
Well, she needs a new bathing suit. All right.
Well, yeah. You have to see it. It's
we're going to take a break, order a bathing suit, and we'll be right back, folks. Hey, everybody, just a quick update. I will not be at Tin Pan Alley in Cape Cod, at least not in the beginning of June. So keep your fingers crossed that I can change that announcement, or maybe even next year you'll see me there. But right now, that date has been postponed. I am restarting my psychic stand-up show at Flappers the 4th Thursday of every month, which is very exciting. And also, if you're in the LA area, you can see me headlining there July 24th. I'll keep you updated on that. Other than that, you can go to my website, karenrontowski.com or paranormalkaren.com and book a reading or check out my videos. And hey, don't be afraid to drop me an email. I love to hear from you guys. Maybe suggest a guest, maybe tell me your favorite guest, maybe tell me to shut up. Either way, karenrontowski.com. Let's get back to the podcast. All right, we're on. Who reads the next one from Shanna, my friend?
I think it is me.
Shanna,
do you want to read it since it's your friend, and I'll read like 2 more after that?
Okay. And Shanna is from Black Bits, and it's BLCKBTS. And I always give her a plug because she makes amazing clothes. So you want to look that up, BLCKBTS. And she makes amazing stuff with she sent me a beautiful cloth for an altar, and it has I just want you to check it out. It's just amazing. She makes it's all blessed and just fantastic. And then I was on her podcast a little while ago because she's pretty amazing. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. My ghost story is about a dear friend that passed away by his own hand. It was so traumatic, as you can imagine. Before he died, he gave me a desert rose. If you don't know a desert rose, it's a light brown stone that is textured like a flower. I called the desert rose around for carried the desert rose around for months afterwards. It slowly became something I carried with me only on Halloween, with the idea of the veil being its thinnest. 1 year.
What does that mean?
I believe it means that because the veil was the thinnest, that he might be able to contact her or know. The veil between the worlds is the thinnest. 1 year.
All right.
Yes. 1 year I had to work on Halloween, and I forgot to bring my desert rose with me. I was so upset and mad at myself, even had a little cry about my friend apologizing to him. Later on that night, my manager's son came in to visit. He was playing with something really small and dropped it. It rolled close to me. I swear to God. Oh, I love how she says it. I swear to Goddess, it was a freaking desert rose. Nice synchronicity. Since that experience, I've gotten more into my intuition and spent time developing my skills and that sort of thing. I'll bring out my desert rose each Halloween, although at this point, I don't think the veil even exists anymore. I agree with that. The past Halloween, I knew that my friend was going to hang around for the weekend with me. I could see him out of the corner of my eye in the kitchen or walking around outside. I woke up on that Monday and thought of him and thought, I'm not sure if he's still here or if he's wandered out without saying goodbye. Right at that moment, the light bulb above my head blinked. He was saying goodbye, at least until next year. Yes. I like the good ghost stories.
Now read this one that she wrote to you at the end. Thank you for asking for these stories. I love having the chance to tell this one as it helps me feel closer to my friend. Look at you.
There it is. Nice.
XOX.
XOX. Shannon from Black Bits. Check it out. BLCKBTS. No vowels at all. I think that's how you make a sigil.
You make a what?
A sigil. Never mind. Well, I'll tell everyone about that. I think everyone knows except you.
Or maybe the people that sent these in that were my friends on Instagram.
Right. Okay. Well, a
know.
sigil is when, oh, wait a minute. There's a big loud car going by. A sigil is when you make a special symbol that empowers whatever you're trying to do or whatever you, it's a way of doing it. And you write out a statement. Like, say, I wrote out a statement saying, I want to have the biggest podcast in the world. I would write that out. Then I would take out all the vowels. Then I would number all the letters and make a circle and then number the circles. It's kind of hard. And then you use it. People can look it up on TikTok. And then you sort of have your own little symbol and you sort of empower it with energy. And then every time you look at it, it brings you more of whatever you asked for.
I love it. Do you think she did that?
I don't know. Black bits, though. There's no vowels.
I guess so. Or it could be blue.
No, it's black bits. Because I've already spoken to her about it, and I love her stuff. So, all right. So that's a sigil. So now we learned about a sigil, and now this next one.
I'm very excited for this one.
Okay, I don't know. Can you say the name?
It says Beth. Yeah. Why
don't we just call everyone Beth?
No, because I think that people like to hear their name. Okay. I would.
Okay, good.
I don't know, except for the one that says no name. Says no name. I remember. Okay. So she says, my parents lived in their home for 40 odd years and were lucky to have funds and resources to age out at home. They enjoyed feeding the squirrels and birds at the living room window every evening. My dad passed peacefully there, and my mom was finally placed in a nursing home for her end-of-life care. This is my favorite. I inherited her home and moved in for several years. One of the first things I did was to rearrange the furniture in the living room. Suddenly, a big robin came up to the window and started pecking. Could you see Dad doing this? He would go to the bathroom, I'm sure, to be obnoxious, though. I'm sorry, that was me. Like putting in a little aside, I'll go back to the story now. Suddenly, a big robin came to the window and started pecking. I looked up as it flew off and went back to my moving. Up it came again, literally pecking at the window at me again. Just one more try, and I was convinced Mom was not happy with my plan. The furniture stayed put for a while. And then she wrote, "Hi, Sue." That's so funny because it's a darn good thing it wasn't Claudia's brother. That furniture would be moved back every day.
See, I love that. I my new joke I'm working on is that all hauntings are ancestral hauntings. When lights go on and off, it's really just your father yelling, "What do I work for the electric company? Why is that happening?" And then when you get a cold spot, it's like, "What did you grow up in a barn? Turn the temperature down. Close the door." So.
Good.
All right.
Those are good.
Oh, good. Okay. And, all right. So the next one I think is, no, not too long. Is the next one from you? We'll just, or she said, sorry to write
that last one was from Tony. I think, I don't know how Beth got in here. I know that was Tony someone. So Tony's coming up. I got it. They're at the end of the page.
And Tony wrote, sorry to write a novel, but I don't think she wrote a novel. I think she was the same size as everyone else. Good for you, Tony. Whose turn is it? Is it my turn? I read?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to pull my things closer. We're going to hand this to there it all got bigger. Okay. So I have another story about my deceased father-in-law, but this one includes a psychic and a medium. Awesome, because that's what I do. I'm trying to do medium.
My boyfriend.
Do you see how distracted I get? This is what you do to me. This is like, now I'm picking up on your vibe, and I'm all over the place too.
Was that a compliment? Because it didn't sound very much like one.
All right. I'm glad you're back on the show. Okay. So I work for an assisted living facility, And every year or so, we have marketing events that are open to other marketing people in the area. About 6 or 7 years ago, we had a medium come in and do a group reading. That's where a gallery reading where they stand up front and they just sort of say, I'm assuming they say who's there. I have a guy here that used to be a vet and he's drunk. And then someone goes, that's my father. I was there. So
not part of this story.
Not part of the story. I was there, and so was my oldest, who was in high school at the time. So the medium saw my daughter and proceeded to tell her Grandpa is with her when she drives. Oh, I need someone with me. I'm such a bad driver. He sits in the back seat and makes sure she is safe. This totally freaked out my daughter.
Maybe she was busy in the back seat.
But
with her boyfriend.
Oh,
sorry. I don't mean to say that, but it was kind of a funny comment.
It is a funny thing. I have to stop this story for 1 second. I waited for 5 minutes to pull into this spot at the vet, and some stupid woman at BLW pulled in front of me. And I was so mad. And then I was like, don't say anything. And it's still bothering me. Okay. So totally freaked my daughter out, but made me feel a little better that he is keeping an eye on her now that she was a new driver. She also asked my daughter if she had any siblings in the room, and my daughter said no. And then the medium told her that Grandpa is saying that she is his favorite. Oh, that's cute. I like that. I totally could see my father-in-law saying this. She then turned to me and asked if I was her. She then turned to me and asked if I was her mom. My oldest looks a lot like me, so I wasn't surprised when she said this, but then she said that my father is always following my husband around and that he watches TV with us at night. I had always had a feeling that he was in the house with us. She also said that I had to give my husband a message from his dad, whether my husband would believe it or not, and that the message was that he was very proud of him. This is not the first time a psychic has given me this message for my husband from his dad. So my husband was supposed to pick me up, and before the show ended, he texted me to let me know he was outside. I told him to come in and sit down and watch the rest of the show. The medium was in the middle of reading another person when she looked at me and then said to me, "Is that your husband?" I looked at the door and realized my husband had just come in, and I said yes. And she proceeded to tell him the reason she knew he was my husband was because my father-in-law was following him into the room. My husband was a little confused, but I explained it to him later. I know this is going on for... No, this was good. This wasn't going on. This was going on for a while, but she also said that my father-in-law was doing well, and he was where he was, I think. Where he was.
Autocorrect.
And he was hanging out with John, and they were having a good time. Both my husband and I have no idea who John was. It's probably our dad. She kept saying it seems like they knew each other and had known each other a long time before they passed. We still had no idea. So when I got home, we called my mother-in-law and told her dad was hanging out with John. She told us that my father-in-law's estranged brother-in-law, Jack, had passed last week. His real name was John. Oh, nice.
Yes, that it did not turn into a novel, Tony. And that is nice. She seems to, I think, if I recall, she's had some deaths in her family, like more than one in the past year. So this is a good thing.
This is a good thing. You know, if I have a feeling that this is my favorite last time I was there over a year. Coming soon, though. I am coming there. We never have time to tape. This is what I think the haunting after Mom passes. I'm going to be looking in the mirror and I'm going to say, just like in life, I'll say, "How do you like my hair?" And then the ghost of Mom will say, "It looks good. You're not done with it, right?"
Yep, that's right.
Okay. Now, this next one is long, but I'm going to save the next one for last. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because that one is from the Canberra house, which I love, which I was supposed to do a show in last year, and then everything shut down.
Holy cow, it's long. You're right.
Okay, so the next one we're going to, I doesn't say we can't say her name. So this one is, okay, Emma Jean. Emma Jean. Yay. Okay. And she took my, I'm just wrapping up your tarot class right now. By the way, good stuff. Yay. What a nice little ad for my tarot class. Okay. Which you can all get. Use coupon code Paranormal Karen for $50 off, but you can get it at karenrontowski.com and be reading tarot.
Shameless plug. Shameless plug.
Okay, you got ready? You go to for the next one. Okay.
Okie dokie. So this is Emma Jean. Mm-hmm. Oh dear, here we go. Maybe this is Deb with sleep paralysis. Let's listen. Throughout my teens and early 20s, I suffered with frequent bouts of sleep paralysis, usually complete with visual and auditory hallucinations, if you want to call them that. I know that has to be the worst. Personally, I didn't. Though I understood the scientific explanation for the phenomenon, I always had the sense that these visions weren't coming from my own dreaming brain, but being projected into my semi-conscious mind by non-physical entities with the intent of scaring the shit out of me in order to feed off my fear. Yikes.
She's got all that right. All that is right.
What can I say? I was weird from an early age. Well, Karen, you would say that's not weird.
I would say that's not weird at all.
It was an incredibly isolating experience because how can you expect your parents or your friends to understand the visceral terror of lying pinned and paralyzed, suffocating under the weight of a decaying, horse-faced, disembodied torso demon, truly believing, oh my God, you're going to die, unable to call out for help to your family in the next room. She is good. She's a good writer. Not that the rest of you weren't, but holy cow.
That was a big sentence.
Horse-faced, disembodied torso demon. I can picture that.
It may have been. I wonder if it was a incubus. No, yeah, incubus. Okay, keep going.
Or a succubus. No, I don't
Succubus goes after men. Incubus goes after women.
Yuck. That's all I have to say about the whole thing. But it was made doubly so by the fact that my belief that these episodes weren't just the hallucinations of a half-sleep brain made me sound kind of crazy. Over the years, these episodes became so routine that I stopped bothering to tell people when they happened. I developed strategies for coping with them, and I figured it was better not to put too much attention on it, since my theory was that they fed off psychic and emotional energy. I bet you're going to say that was really smart.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I love that she got a strategy. You would have to, which I'm not sure, but yeah, this is really good. Okay.
When I was 18, my cousin Caitlin asked me to be maid of honor at her wedding. The wedding was to take place at a resort just north of Yellowstone National Park called Chico Hot Springs. Tucked away in the picturesque wilderness of Montana, an hour's drive from the nearest city and nestled among the mountains, it's idyllic. Idyllic. I think you can say it either way, idyllic.
I think you got it right. I think you did it right twice.
I don't know. Who knows?
3 times.
At any time of the year. Ideal, people. It's ideal. And it's one of my most favorite places in the world. It also happens to be one of the most notoriously haunted places in the state.
By the way, I love Montana so much. Someone find me a gig in Montana. I love Montana so much. Okay, go ahead.
My friend Jessie lives there in Missoula. So maybe she can do it. Okay. Established in 1900, in its early years, Chico had functioned as a hospital and wellness center. The mineral-rich geothermal pools touted as having rejuvenative healing properties. As a kid, looking up at the stars, watching the fat, fluffy snowflakes falling from the sky to evaporate in the steam as I sat in the cozy warm water of the large open-air pools, the place surely did seem to have a special sort of magic. But although a trip to Chico was always cause for excitement, I nevertheless always felt a certain uneasiness about the place. The energy in the old lodge, where we invariably stayed because the minuscule rooms without television, AC, or even their own bathrooms were cheaper than new additions, had always felt to me to be too busy, especially when I found myself walking to or from the pool alone, which I tried to avoid, I always suffered the eerie sensation that I wasn't the only consciousness in those narrow hallways and staircases, even when there was no one else to be seen. For this reason, I was greatly relieved to learn on this particular trip, myself and the other bridesmaids. Could you hear that sound?
Oh, that was, I'm sorry, I opened my water bottle. That was my water bottle.
I keep hearing these sounds. Okay, I'm going to tell everybody else this. And I was going to wait till the end and say, okay, do you think that this is a bad idea? Because I think my phone is haunted. No, it's your water bottle. Again, we are a professional duo. Okay, back to the story. For this reason, I was greatly relieved that on this particular trip, I think I read this far, I did, myself and the other bridesmaids would be sharing a suite in one of the new lodges. And after the revelry subsided, I slept well that first night. The day of the wedding, I woke up feeling a bit under the weather. I was supposed to sing at the ceremony that afternoon, and I felt a nap might be in order if I was to perform and stay perky throughout the festivities. Unfortunately, the bridesmaid suite was an absolute madhouse with close to a dozen, holy crow, girls bustling around, dressing and chatting and primping. So I wandered over to my parents' room in the old lodge to attempt to get some rest before the ceremony. Oh, no. Mm-hmm. I settled into the antique bed in the quaint, tiny room and fell asleep. I woke up in the grips of a sleep paralysis episode. At this point, it happened so many times before that I could recognize immediately what was going on. Aware of the room around me, but unable to move, my brain functioning with the same clarity and level of logic as if I had been fully awake. But something was different this time. Where before entities had appeared to me or had appeared very corporal and corporeal. I hate to say it, but
let me see
if I tap on it. I'm ready to look it up, but that will take me too long. And would bite. Okay, let's see. The entities
wait a minute,
always
I got
appeared.
it. She's smarter than us. Boldly, fleshly, carnal, human, mortal, earthly.
Okay, so that's not good.
And it's connected to. Wait, it also says it's connected to satanic.
Okay, and that was what she was following that with. What
would bite and crawl.
It would bite and claw and suffocate. What I saw this time was a vague, amorphous black mist, still possessed of the same degree of palpable malevolence, hovering over me and attacking me energetically. So she thought that they were feeding on her energy.
She was
this
right.
went on for a few minutes, maybe less. I had learned over the years that if I could keep myself from panicking, easier said than done, the attacks would end sooner, and I managed to snap myself fully awake before too long. As I regained control of my body, I sat up and checked
the clock.
Check the clock. I had to get ready for the ceremony. Sun was streaming through the window. I could hear people playing outside in the pool below, and I put the incident out of my mind and rushed back to the bridesmaid suite. It was a couple of years later that I was driving back to Chico with my mom and my best friend when the incident popped into my head. I shared the story with them, I believe, for the first time, and by the time we arrived at the resort, we all had ghosts on the brain. As we picked up our keys from reception, my mom asked the young man behind the counter, jokingly, if they were all keys to the haunted room. Oh, no. He hesitated a beat before admitting, well, actually, I wasn't too bothered. The whole damn place was haunted by my estimation anyway. But when we got to the room and opened the door, my mom exclaimed, oh, this is the room where your dad and I were in last time. All right. Now things were getting a little weird. At this point, I went downstairs to talk to my friend, to talk to the concierge, since he seemed knowledgeable and willing to talk to us about the resort's paranormal goings on. I didn't tell him anything about my story. I just asked him what he knew about the alleged hauntings at the hotel. He told us there were two entities that people reported seeing on the premises. One was a partial body apparition of a woman, Percy. It seemed to be just an energetic echo, seemingly unaware of the people around things around and things around her. And the other, he said, was evil, dark, mist. Cue record scratch. I love her. I was floored. At 20 years old, it was the first time I'd received something akin to proof that the weird shit I'd been dealing with since a kid, or since I was a kid, wasn't all in my head. And I had a witness. It was a huge moment for me. I was vindicated. Here's where things get a little weirder yet. A few years ago, I brought up this story to my mom, and she has no memory of it ever happening. I called up my friend to talk to her about it. Same story. Oh, no. I don't know. Obviously, it was much more emotionally impactful and a much more emotionally impactful moment for me than it would have been for them. Maybe it just failed to imprint on their brains as important information as it did with me. Or maybe I hopped a timeline somewhere between here and there. Sure, it's frustrating as hell that I don't have anyone to back me up on the story of the one time I got some verification that I'm probably not crazy. And it sucks now in telling the story the fact that my two witnesses don't remember it happening makes me just sound crazier. She's in the right place, right? Crazier than anything. But I know it happened just like I always did before anyone believed me, before I was even sure that I fully believed myself. And if anyone listening to this story finds themselves wrestling with their own very literal demons, I leave you with two pieces of advice. First, don't doubt your own experience. And second, and the immortal words of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, don't panic. Oh my God, I love that book and that movie. Oh my God, I love it. And you know what? You come to the right place because probably everybody that listened to this believes you.
I
Amen.
believe, and you know what else? I actually am going to, sometimes I find if you tell someone, especially a mom or a family member, and they're too afraid, they block it out.
Oh man!
And how's that tea? We could hear that gulp. And then
sorry,
that's all right. We're not stopping.
I'm day drinking while I do this. Come on,
good for you. And then the other thing is, the other thing is, I believe it was her best friend. Well, if that was the day everyone was running around on the wedding, she probably was half listening. I don't know. I have a sister that oftentimes is half listening, so I know how that goes.
Yeah, it's your other sister, right? It's not me.
I'm not going to say who it is. I'm not saying which one.
Wait, wasn't it when they went back? I can't remember. No, they asked the guy. I think that was when they went. It was when they went back, but I might be wrong. Go back and check it.
This is a perfect episode because when we come back, we have the story with no name. We can't use the name. And then we're going to end with the Cambry house, which is one of my favorite places. I haven't been there yet, but I know it's going to be. And I love Rebecca. So everybody hold on one second. We'll be back.
Psychic teas, spelled with a Z, are scrumptious herbal combinations with antiviral and anti-inflammatory properties. Without sugar or caffeine, psychic teas won't mess with any medications and are designed by a naturopathic doctor. Many testify to positive results. Detox chakras and psychic tea blends enable bodily functions with superior efficacy, while more love and champagne blends support awareness of subtle joy and bliss. The CBD's teas are magical with myriad healing effects. There are 20 servings per package. A little dab'll do ya, and you can drink it hot or cold. Psychic teas taste so good. Replace coffee, use as a bedtime ritual, or even flavor a meal or dessert. The people behind the product are righteous and kind. Psychic teas will blow your mind. Totally worth the investment. Psychic teas with a Z.com.
Okay, before we put the final chapter, I want you to tell everybody you have some big knitting news. If you don't,
I don't know how big it is.
If you don't follow Susie on Instagram, she's quite a knitter and a purveyor of plants. She has little, if you drive by her house, you will often see a little house in front of it where you can pick up a bouquet of flowers, right?
Yes. Yes, you can. If you live in my town. Yeah, Tom, that's you, Mr. Boo Radley. You can pick them up.
My
Yeah,
sister's good
yes, I
response.
do.
Yes, okay. So, are you going to be in a? You're going to be in a knitting magazine, right?
It's actually a spinning magazine, and I am going to be featured for a pillow I made. So I spun all the yarn in it, and I have to write an article, which Karen has heard me complain about 400 times now, and I only have one paragraph left. Thank God. That's why I have to say about myself.
You're a good writer, and it was all exciting that they chose you and your pillow. And now, I don't know. There's a guy couldn't even come up with a name, just called it his pillow. That guy made a lot of money. We don't know. We don't know what your pillow's going to do. So look for Susie. What is the name of the thing?
Okay, well, it's called Spin-Off because I'm sure a lot of you listen or read a spinning magazine because I'm not sure I really am supposed to say anything, but that's what it's
weird,
called.
because you think you're not supposed to promote it, but I'm like, I think they would let you say it so that all the tens of listeners from this show will go. It's a spin-off. But look for Sue. Give your Instagram right now because then they can see all the things that you make.
Okay, my Instagram is smcarn. And if you want to check out my flower feed, if you are in the area, which I'm sure you're not, you can check out when I put 3 flowers out. And that is SM Carn Flowers. And if you want to follow our mom, because she is super entertaining, that's just Janine Rontowski.
Which is actually my sister making fun of us from my mom's perspective.
No, because she says nice things about you. Be prepared for a gulp. Here it comes.
It wasn't as good as the other one, but all right. Do you want to read the no name? One of us will read the no. Are you choking now? Do I need to stop? Okay, hold on,
oh
folks.
My God. It went out my nose. It's all over my legs.
All right, so it came out your nose. All right.
Oh my God, guys! I don't normally. I shouldn't have taken that last drink because I thought I was being so funny. It's so funny now that it came out my nose for the first time, and it's all over my bedroom floor.
And now
it's worse than when the dog has an accident.
It would be mom like going, "See, look now, you girls had to be funny."
Oh my God! No, I wasn't even that it was funny. It was just that I kind of knew I couldn't drink, and then boom, here it is. Oh God! I think it was a ghost. I swear to God. Okay, we really have to make sure Dad didn't die after this because that seems like the kind of thing.
I think we won't worry about it. This is I had to make a switcheroo on an episode, so this is coming out next week, which rarely happens. So he just needs to hang on another week.
Yeah, we'll tag it if he does. Okay, well, I don't even remember what was happening here.
Okay, so
was I in the middle of reading?
No. How did that affect your memory? No,
a lot. I think brain cells came out. Holy cow.
Okay. So I'll read the next story, which is the shorter one, and then we'll end with the Cambry house, and we will split it if it's a lot. Okay. So rest your little larynx or whatever got messed up there. Your sinus is filled with twisted tea.
My larynx and my sinuses. Okay.
You do that, and if you have to cough, you can mute. And I'm going to read this one, and this one was no name, please. Okay. My wife, which is good because I didn't include the name so we wouldn't read it by mistake. Okay.
You're thinking ahead.
I am. I do that when I was copying and pasting. My wife and I seem to be constantly moving. Whenever we are in between moves, we end up back at her parents' house in the addition area. It's an old garage turned into a bedroom. Both of us are somewhat sensitive to energies. Her parents swear that nothing is in the house, but there have been multiple deaths on the busy corner just outside the house. This is just like my place. I think we have a portal that dumps a car out. Once a week we have an accident. Okay. We both have seen many different types of spirits hanging around. There is one, though, that sticks out more than others. I have always seen it as this dark being with root-like tendrils. What are tendrils?
Tendrils like
Tentacles?
yes, exactly. But they're long, like a root, like in a plant. You know, if you pulled it up, they would all be sticking down. But it's worse.
Yucky.
Like think of a brain tumor.
Oh, all right. Okay. Definitely non-human. Yes, we hope so. My wife has seen it as more of a rodent, but still with these weird attachments coming off of it. Wow. Both of us feel like it lives in the crawl space. Last weekend was interesting. We got a new puppy not too long ago, and she still cries at night when she's scared, making it really hard to get any real sleep. I had done some self-healing before laying down that night. Throughout most of the session, I kept seeing this being beside me, like it was trying to poke at my shielding. Feeling somewhat confident in my protections, I laid down for the night to sleep shortly after. When we both woke up in the morning, we got talking about what we thought were our dreams. We saw this same thing at the foot of the bed. My wife was convinced it was bothering her because it thought she was me. It's hard to set up any sort of traditional cleansing the space since I'm only at the house on weekends. We both do wear crystals and use incense and candles often to make it all less heavy. Can't wait to be out of this place. Lucky none of the activity seems to mess with her parents. Yeah, that's really bizarre. That's a bizarre one. And also, that, you know, I think sometimes entities do get like whatever is in my house, which is usually my house is always like, oh, you got to get out of here. Everything is really quiet right now. This apartment is like almost too quiet. And here's what I think happened. I have to whisper a little bit because my neighbors, the apartment next to me was empty. And then these people moved in and they're the nicest people ever. But they sit in these special chairs just like these. They watch TV all day long and they eat like Pizza Hut and KFC and like everything that's bad for you is going into their house. And I think all the spirits went over there to sit and eat junk food. They're like, we got to get away from this vegan crap. Look at what those people are eating. That's what I think is going on.
Also, are your walls that thin that your neighbors can hear the story?
No, they're not at all, but I almost wonder, because I have sort of a weird story to add to this. So,
okay.
But I did a reading for this nice lady. And I think she'll be okay me telling this because I think she listens to the podcast. And I won't say her name or anything. But so I'm reading for her and she was telling me something that was going on with her husband. And I go, I think your husband has something attached to him. And just as I said attached, something screamed in my ear over the phone. And I've never had that happen during a reading. And I was like, do you have a dog? Because you know how if someone has a dog bark or something, she's like, no, I think there's something in the house. And I was like, I think there is because it just screamed in my ear. Are
you sure it wasn't a water bottle?
I should have asked her. I used to call back. I should have asked her. But here's the other thing. I think it's getting very, so my friend Tommy, demonologist Tommy, always says the veil isn't really a real thing. It's that we have a block on our consciousness of what we can see, that all these things are there. But I'm wondering if, especially with the dream, that thing must be used to that person's parents. They don't go into the parents' house because there's sort of a, you mind your business and we'll mind ours, or the parents are not at the vibration to see it. But I feel like these things are all getting more aggressive and bold.
Yeah.
I know. All right. Okay. So Rebecca from the Cambry house. Are you ready? She said she has 2 and the last one is really long. So we see what you think. But she always tells a good story because Cambry house is this location in Indiana. I think it's 2 hours south of Chicago. Cambre. Beautiful place to have weddings, and she does haunted stuff. So you want to start it? Are you okay? Are you going to make it?
I'm good. Yeah, I've recovered now. I'm sticky, but other than that, I'm fine.
All right.
Okay.
Read your sticky.
Here we go.
Read while you're sticky. Go ahead.
Here we go, Rebecca. This was during a public ghost tour at the Cambry house. Cambry? Is that what you said 7 times?
Yep.
And I
Cambre.
Okay. I had 10 people in the tour, starting in the barn with history of the location and ghost hunting 101. Now, wait, is she giving the tour?
Yes. She owns it and she gives the tours.
And you probably said that. Oh, I remember this for some reason. Okay. One of the gentlemen in the tour went to sit down on a bench to start the tour. And as he sat, his wedding ring got caught in the bench somehow and fell off. Luckily, he found it right away and put it back on.
I know a lot of comics whose wedding rings fall off too when they meet pretty women. It's an odd sort of thing that happens.
It just happens.
It just happens.
They caused those rings to slip right off. The whole thing was maybe a minute, and a little comment was made by the group, mainly just comments, "I'm glad you found it." After they finished in the barn, they moved to the house for the investigation. I stayed in the barn for the next group, but there was a paranormal team in the house. During the investigation, half the group was upstairs, and the gentleman who had lost the ring was downstairs. He decided to go upstairs and join the other group, who was doing a spirit box session. What is that?
That's that machine where it goes, and it's actually one of my favorite pieces of equipment. It's a radio that doesn't it scans and it doesn't stop, but it somehow puts out so that spirits can kind of ride that wave. They can sometimes you'll hear the channels going, but you can hear like a whole sentence. They can ride the white noise to say something.
Oh, okay.
Ghost Adventures has it on all the time.
And then they repeat them.
Aaron, did you hear them say "get out"? Okay.
As he gets to the top of the stairs, the box says "ring." It's like how I did that ring. And the entire group became believers in the paranormal. No one has mentioned to the team. No one had mentioned to the team inside anything about the ring falling off, but they had all witnessed it happening and knew instantly what the spirit block. Jeez Louise, spirit box was implying.
Oh, I love that story.
I know. That was a good one.
See, Rebecca? Rebecca knows what she's doing. I remember once when I was we were investigating, and there's a jail museum in New Jersey, and and I forget the name of it, but we're in a cell, and this is where like there's this little ghost radar you can get on your phone, which really isn't a thing, but if the spirit can manipulate it. So anything, they can manipulate a radio, a cell phone, whatever. So it doesn't have to be like a ghost like this. It's just an app on the phone that's kind of a fake, but it works. If you know that. So we were in this place, and we had EMF. We're in this cell, and we were like, "Is anybody here?" or whatever. We're doing our regular session. All the lights in the place go off and come back on as the EMF meter goes do 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 do. Because I had one of the old ones, which was one of the best ones, because you could leave it behind and it would go off. And then this little thing on the phone, this app that's not a real thing, said King, King, with a capital K. And we found out King was the name of the warden that was murdered in that cell. So that's why I kind of love the spirit box. I think it's a real thing. It's hard to get used to it because it's kind of noisy, but okay. Our last story, and a long story. We're going long, folks. I'm sure you don't mind. Okay. Should I start it and then we'll see it, and then you might have to take over?
No problem. I would love to.
Okay. I had
The
started
only time I left an investigation.
I had started.
Yikes.
Oh, that was the story before about the ring. That was the only time she was scared.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I started investigating in 2003. At this point in time, I was not part of an investigative team, but I loved doing investigations. I made friends with Garrett, who ran public ghost hunting tours in my area. I went on all Garrett's tours, and eventually he started telling me when he had new tours to make sure I did not miss it. This then led to him bringing me along when he had new locations to decide if the location would be part of the public tour or not. We went to bed and breakfast, and we started to build a reputation, basements of buildings that people worked in that felt creepy, and various places like that. That sounds fun, going to bed and breakfasts and stuff. The locations
For you.
The locations were paid for being part of the tour, and many places liked having a little extra revenue. But not all were set up or had the hauntings that would make for a good public investigation. So together we would go to the locations and do an investigation studying the layout of the buildings to see if it worked well for tours or not. And mainly just to investigate some real neat places. That is a great way to do it. We had lots of fun doing it, and I always liked it when Garrett called because there would be fun place to investigate. Garrett called one day and said, "Guess where I got us in to investigate?" Well, there were a lot of possibilities, and with nothing to base the where on, I had no idea. "No, really guess," he said. You never believe where it is." He was really excited, and you could hear it in his voice just how worked up he was about this one. I guess it was the holy grail of locations. Every investigator has their holy grail location, the one location that they wanted to investigate, but for various reasons were not able to. There is a bunch of those. Especially,
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what's yours?
I think it's knocked down now, but it would have been the Cecil.
Oh, that's a hotel, right?
It is a hotel. It's the hotel in L.A. where that girl, they found her in the water tank. And it's very famous. And American Horror Story did a whole season on it. And then they changed it to and Richard Ramirez, the serial killer, stayed there. And it's just it's just a pretty horrible place. You know the story about the girl in the water tank, right?
I don't know.
Everyone knows this story. Okay. So there's a picture, or there's a video on YouTube of a girl, and she's getting in the elevator, and she's pushing the buttons, and she's getting out, and she's looking around, and it goes on like 6 minutes, I think. And there was something wrong with her. We don't know what, but actually my friend told me she was, the day that before she got killed, she was in line to go and see a late night TV show, and they couldn't let her in because she was acting so strange. So she was sort of this student that ended up staying at the Cecil, which I believe was called the Stay in Maine, and she disappeared. And like a couple weeks later, all the water coming out of the tap was brown.
Oh God, no.
Yeah. And they went up to the water tank, and that's where they found her. And I'm not sure the whole details on this, but it was either like, I think they said the door was closed. They can't quite figure out how it happened or how she did it, or did something else do it. That's the whole thing. So now back to this. That's
a great ending, Karen.
Yeah, the one that ends with me not having the details of what I'm talking about. That's always a good ending. Fill in your own details.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah, I'll have to check that out. All right, back to the story.
And they did a big thing on the Cecil on Netflix that covers the whole story. So she's talking about everyone has their location like that, either because the location is too far away, too much money, or they just do not allow investigations. This location was the latter. They just did not allow investigations ever. During the late 1800s, it was a booming mineral spring town. There was a large hotel that drew guests from all over the country from their healing waters of the springs. The town was situated down in a valley. around a mineral spring, a lot of mineral springs in these stories, and had a horse racing track, a merry-go-round, and many homes situated on the hills. The owner committed suicide in the horse barn, and the town basically dissolved after that point. Before the suicide, though, there were many other deaths, many of which I do not remember, but the one that I heard the most about was the merry-go-round worker falling into the gears. Yuck.
Ugh.
During the 1970s, the area became a hippie commune, perfect, and is well known in the area for that period of time with concerts and parties. It was abandoned and became a place for bonfire parties in the woods during the 1980s. It gained a haunted reputation during this time as well. It was a ghost town and many of the buildings had disappeared, but rumor was there was actual ghost haunting the town. In the 1990s, it was donated to a local university to be a wildlife conservation area. The university cracked down on the wild parties and people were arrested for trespassing. With the haunted reputation, many teams asked the university for permission to investigate, but were all turned down. Is it the Krishna? I asked. You know, the wild guess was probably not right. How did you know? I just got off the phone with the person at the university who is in charge, and I got her to agree to let us go, he said. She isn't going to let anyone except us go. I will probably never get to agree to a public tour, but we should go. Okay. He told me the night we had permission, but there was permission to be there, and after much squealing and excitement, we made plans to go. Location name has been changed. Okay, so, all right.
Okay. All right.
If you know the area, you probably already know the location. Okay. And I know if you call, they will most definitely tell you that no, that you can't go there. They also have a big problem with vandalism. I know they don't prosecute trespassers.
They do.
Oh, they do prosecute trespassers. This is one of those locations that is frustrated. They have a haunted reputation and would prefer that they did not have ghosts because it causes a lot of problems. Abandoned ghost towns are out in the middle of nowhere. We drove out in the middle of nowhere and turned off a paved road onto a lane. There was a big gate across the lane, and so we left the car and walked. That happens all the time in Indiana and Illinois. I don't know why. There's always a graveyard and you got to go over a bridge and get a riddle right. The road that used to lead into the town was now grass-covered lane that was lined with overgrown fence. Now with the trees so tall that obviously had been overgrown for many years. Naturally, that day that we picked, it happened to be drizzling, but we were not going to miss the opportunity, so we walked a mile down the lane in the drizzle just after the sunset. The rain actually helps. It's a good conductor. Do you want to go? You want to read?
Yes, except I keep hearing clickety, click, click, click. So you want to read another and then I'll take over?
Okay. I don't know what the clickety, click, click is. Are you?
I know.
Okay. All right. Is Rain Dance on top of you? Who are those people? Stomp? Is Stomp working on your ceiling? Okay. We went down the hill into the valley. The town had been across the stream. You know what? A stream is really good if you're trying to lose a ghost that's following you. I know a lot of people don't go over water if you have something following you. As we crossed the stream, the energy changed. There. We had started as a friendly walk in the woods on a summer evening, but became quiet as well as we crossed the little stream. Did you feel that? We looked at each other. Yeah, I did. The energy shifted here. Let's walk back across and see if we can feel the difference. I said, we walked back across and it was like the birds started chirping again. There was a heaviness that you could feel when you cross the stream. That happens when you go into my bedroom. You go, what? What happened in here? This feels sad.
As we continued continue to pass the stream into what had once been the town, the heaviness increased. Yuck. The darkness felt like there was a weight to it, and it felt like we were being watched. We pulled out the K2 meter to see what the baseline reading was. All through the area, the K2 would go up to the red and almost flicker. So again, what is this thing?
K2 meter is a little, it's just a little thing that has like yellow, green, it has a little like a rainbow of lights. I think there's 5 or 6, and it just measures when there's an energetic change. And so when spirits are around, it usually lights up. And sometimes you can communicate with them. You can say, hey, can you step closer to this? And then it'll light up again. So when she says it went to red, it was like, it was all powerful. It was like going all the way on.
Okay, good to know. There were no power lines out to the one building that was left standing. If there had ever been power out there, the pole and lines were long gone. There was no reason for anything.
For the K, yeah. For any high K2 readings here.
Okay, wait a minute. There has been no power lines to the building that had been left standing. If there had ever been power out there, the poles and lines were long gone. There was no reason for any of the high K2 readings here, and yet we were getting them with consistency. Everything was overgrown to the point it was difficult to see that this had been a town, except for the knowledge that we knew that there had been buildings here. Garrett had researched and knew where things had been located to an extent, but in the dark, we did not want to get far into the brush, especially with the sense of heaviness and unwelcome we were feeling.
And I have I have to just interrupt and say this: when you're out in the dark in places where there's no energy, it is dark. It is not the lights of LA where it's never really dark, or your city. I'd imagine they were looking at blackness. Okay, go ahead.
The only building left standing is the old hotel. It was 3 stories and at one time had 3 balconies on the front. None of the balconies are left in the middle of, and the building gives just a hint of the former glory with its impressive size out in the middle of the woods like it is. Sadly, we could see evidence of vandalism to the building. There was a lot of graffiti, and you could see where they had tried to keep people out of the building by screwing in thick plywood panels. That always looks horrible to me, scary, like over the doors and the windows. The fresh plywood though, had already been pried open, and more graffiti had been spray painted over the recent efforts to preserve the building. I will have to let her know they've already torn this up, Garrett said. It's amazing that kids would go out and do that in such a freaky place, I would say.
All right. I would. That's what I would when I was a kid.
You did? You were the bad kid.
I was the bad kid. That's why I'm the more interesting kid.
Oh. Yeah, look, the garden club wouldn't think you were more interesting. I'm kidding. They don't think right. I'm interesting either.
And I'm constantly looking for garden club approval.
Okay. Since the way had already been cleared for us, we entered the lower floor. The feeling of heaviness only increased inside. That's what teenagers bring. There were years and years of graffiti on the walls and fireplace. Oh, man. It was obvious this had been a party spot for some time. Debris littered the floor. We tried to do a K2 session, but the feeling of unease only increased, and we were not getting solid answers. The stairway leading upstairs had plywood over the entrance as well, but there were holes punched in the wall large enough that you could put your upper body through to look at it. Mm-hmm. The wooden steps were covered in a layer of dust and more debris, and it looked like no one had been that way in some time. We discussed having me wiggle through the opening. Oh my God, don't do that. And go up. But the feeling of unease increased as we discussed it. Between the heaviness and the unease and my uncertainty of the solidness of the floor on the next level, we decided to go back outside. That increased sense of heaviness and unease only followed us back outside. The K2 kept flickering into the red. We discussed the stories of the things that had happened here, the suicide in the horse barn and the worker that fell into the merry-go-round gears, yuck, hoping to produce some activity. As the heaviness continued to grow, we both overwhelmingly felt like we were not supposed to be there. Finally, I looked at Garrett and said, I think we need to leave. I really feel like we're not supposed to be here. We have permission to be here, and I know we're going to be okay. I know we are okay being back here, but you're right. This just feels so heavy. Garrett said, so we began the trek back through the woods to the car. The feeling of being watched only became stronger, and the feeling of heaviness never changed until we crossed the stream. So do you feel like that somebody was following them through that,
Oh,
or
of
something
course,
was
of
following?
course. In one of my favorite books called Psychic Self-Defense by Deanne Fortune, which she wrote in like 1920, she talks about when something is following you, you want to cross over a body of water. It somehow kind of I don't know why it messes up their navigation or something. Although sometimes it's hard to find a body of water with a bridge, but it looks like they kind of dumped to this thing there.
That's just like bees. I think bees don't do that either.
Oh, bees
maybe.
And spirits, yeah.
Or maybe just they don't want to go in water. And we laughed at ourselves a bit and wondered if we should not go back. Oh my God, don't go back. We turned around and looked behind us, and the feeling of watchfulness was still there on the other side of the stream, waiting for us almost. We continued the long walk back to the car, knowing that we had been chased out of the holy grail of locations. To this day, I would love the opportunity to go back there and investigate. I often wonder if I was just imagining the feeling of heaviness and watchfulness that we felt back there. But then again, I know how many locations we investigated where we felt a heaviness, and we're only more excited to be there investigating. This location was different. I've been back a few times. The university tries to have an open house once a year to help discourage trespassers and raise funds for the upkeep of the location. The spot has an interesting history, and it is a beautiful location to visit on a sunny fall day. But I still feel the change in energy when I cross the stream, even in the sunlight, and even with a large group there. There's a subdued feeling to the spot. People talk in hushed tones, and sound doesn't seem to seem so loud. The location of the buildings that are no longer there is hard to picture, even in the daylight, with pictures showing where they were. It's as if nature has so thoroughly reclaimed the spot that the evidence that a village was there has been so thoroughly erased that all is left. All that is left. Sorry, I'm goshing myself, not her. All that is left is the feeling of unease of the memories from those times imprinted on the location. I would like to say to Emma Jean, holy cow.
That wasn't Emma Jean. That's the next story. We already read that story. That was Rebecca. Rebecca from the Cambry house.
See, the beer just, or not beer, the Twisted Tea did me in. Okay, here's the thing about that. Now,
you just hung up on me. All right, folks, hold on. She just hung up on me. You hung up on me. We're still taping.
Oh my God. Okay. Hi guys.
You said it was the tea, and then you hung up on me by mistake. Okay.
The teens. I know. I'm just touching my phone at this point. No. Oh, I know why I hit my headphone. That was it. No. I mean, they could feel this heavy feeling, and they knew it was malevolent. But these obnoxious teens, maybe they're not believers, so they just go in there and trash everything, and they don't get it.
Nobody else had been in that location but them. Oh, teams. I thought you said teams like Paranormal, but you mean kids. Yeah, the kids probably, I'm sure they do. But I also wonder, it sounds like cursed land. Yeah. So it started before the merry-go-round and whatnot. And it's like I was just talking to my friend, and there was a place in Pennsylvania that she was talking about something going on. And I was like, I think we pushed some Native Americans off that land or something. But that sounds like, the location with the stream around it, all that stuff just is kind of pointing to yucky poopy.
That's nice. Nice language. Nice talk.
It's nice. It is good. Well, that was fun. Thank you, Sue. We got all of them in.
And that was, yes, and it was good. And I apologize again for my mess of iced tea.
That's why everyone
But I had a great time, and we should probably check in on Dad and make sure he's still with us. And if Mom's having a party because he's passed now.
All right, we will check on Dad. And folks, we're going to ask again around Halloween. We're going to try and do this again. We'll ask probably the month before. But thank you, Sister Sue. Tell everyone where they can see your Instagram.
S Carn. And that is, I think, around the time when I started spitting things out. And my flower one, my garden one is oh, wait a minute, it's SM Carn. Sorry, guys. And then it's SM Carn Flowers. And our mother is Janine Rontowski, which is me.
Am I following your flower one?
Not many people are, just because it's local and it just says when the free flowers thing is available.
Oh, okay. Well, we can follow it and then we'll just be happy for free flowers. Who wouldn't be?
Who wouldn't be? You're right. Okay, babe. I'm going to go eat my my egg foo young.
Go have some egg foo young. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to the program. Thanks to Mike at Uno Rising Media. We will see you all next week. Oh, and if you could leave me a 5-star review, I keep forgetting to ask, and I want to bump up my numbers. I just decided that. I wasn't thinking about it. But if you could leave me a 5-star review, that would be great. And Psychic Stand-Up is back at Flappers. It is coming up in June, the July and June 24th. You can see me headline. That's a Saturday at Flappers if you're in the Los Angeles area. All right, folks, have a great whatever. Bye.